The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
This is Africa Diaspora Connect.
Join us as we take the journey from the motherland to America.
We share our experiences and learn from them.
Here is our host, Kibathi Gaturu.
Welcome once again. It's got to be 6 p.m. It's a Thursday. You know what time that is. It's time for the ADC, Africa Diaspora Connect, coming at you from Studio 21. And I'm your host, KG Kibathi Gaturu. What's on the agenda today? My goodness. The young black male. It is an endangered species. Yes, we're going to talk about those demographics of young brothers out there, the perils that they're undergoing, and I have here with me, and I'll introduce him in a second. He's no stranger to the show, but before I do that, let me talk about our sponsors today. Savins Home Care Services, headquartered in Methuen, Massachusetts. Savins Home Care Services is a local independent healthcare agency catering to the ever-increasing baby boom population. It's another diaspora minority-owned woman-managed entity. Give it up to our sisters yet again. Savins HCS offers personalized, affordable home care services to a wide array of clients, addressing their personal needs with utmost respect, dignity, and compassion. Building healthcare communities, one person, one client at a time. You can reach us at 978-655-6540. Ask for Eunice. Savins at savinscare.com. 300 Broadway, Suite 202, Methuen, Massachusetts. RNs, LPNs, HHAs, CNAs, let us know. We want to work days, we want to work nights. Live-ins, flexible. Savings is where it's at. Let them know. You heard it from ADC, your man, Kibathi Gaturu, KG. Now, that's a wrap. Now, guys, listen, subscriptions. Keep subscribing. Wherever you listen to your podcast, Podbean, Spotify, we are there. And we are becoming an entity. Look at that. We even have mugs now. Look at that, man. Look at that. We don't play no more. Listen, and you can grab this merchandise anytime soon. As long as you keep subscribing, you got the mugs, man. So listen, guys, it's on yet again. Africa Diaspora Connect has the fortunate to have my man, the Rev Dr Andre Bennett. Give it up. Welcome once again.
My brother.
Wagwan, man.
Wagwan,
yeah, man. You know, yeah, man.
I'm there.
Yeah, there. All right, man. So listen. The plight of our sons. Let's preach today, man. I mean, I got a son. He's 20. I have one son. He's 20. He's my life, man. He's my life. And I mean, I do have two other kids. They're daughters, my daughters. But there's something about our sons. There's something about bringing these young men up, these men of valor. I don't know whether we are failing as a community. I don't know where, it starts from home with us. I don't know whether or not we're not doing enough of a good job. We send them out into a world that is unforgiving. And a lot of times, they're not coming home.
Yeah.
So let's address these issues, man. Let's start from you, man. Let's start from you. You were born and raised in Jamaica.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. You were born and raised in Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
Coming to this here country as a black man with dreadlocks, man, how was that transition for you and with that beautiful, sexy Jamaican lingua that you have, the patois, all that beautifulness in you. What was it like, the transition for you?
Listen to KG, man.
He knows how to butter you up.
Hey,
listen, brother. It was, and it still is, and has been a rather difficult transition. I've been here now for 13 years almost. April will be 13 years since I've been in this country.
Yeah.
I came here because my wife at the time, I'm no longer married, let me just put that out there.
Ladies. He just... All right, go ahead.
But my wife was, she was here.
Yeah.
She'd been here for about 2 years prior. She was recruited as a special education teacher.
Understood.
She came here, that was not what she came to. She came to work directly in a group home.
Okay.
They came and they recruited her as a special ed teacher, but they brought her to
work in a group home.
To manage one of the clients in a group home. Anyways, and so I came, the decision was made because my wife usually comes home 3 times per year. At the beginning of each school term or school semester.
Understood.
She would come home. And the year when we made the decision that I should come, something happened. My son, who is 4 years old, we have 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. The 2 girls are the first and the last. The 2 boys are in the
between. Okay.
but my youngest son, for some reason, could not adjust to his mom being home. Because the times when she's not home, it's just me, him, and the other kids.
Yeah.
My wife's home. I haven't seen her for 3 months. I want to spend some extra time
Absolutely.
with her. My son couldn't deal with that. And so we realized that the bi-coastal living
wasn't working
for the family. So we sat down, we discussed what's the better option.
Absolutely.
We're 2 well-educated professional individuals. Yeah. But where's the better place to raise our children? We thought, like everybody thinks, America is the better place, right? America is the land of, milk and honey and opportunities.
That's what they say.
Wealth and all that.
Yeah.
Thought is the operative word in that, because I no longer think that.
Okay.
But so we decided, all right, America is the place that we want to raise our children. At least our kids are free to be themselves. Yeah. Jamaica is Jamaica. Yeah, there are certain things in Jamaica you can't do. Certain political parties, if you support one political party, you can't have the conversation. Yeah. And so, you know what I mean? So we wanted
third world politics.
Third world politics. We wanted our kids to be in what we thought was a better social
a safe haven. A safe haven. Yeah.
So we came, for me personally, it was difficult. 12, 13 years ago, I was 28 years old, 27, 28 years old, somewhere there. Yeah. Young man with a family. Yeah. I was a junior vice president at a financial institution in the country at the time. I came here, discovered the first day when I came here that the type of visa that I came here on, I will not be allowed to work. Because I was on the H4, my wife was on the H1B, and the H4 means the spousal dependent visa. Yeah. And so for the life of that visa, you cannot work. That's a 7-year visa. I don't know who on earth decided that.
Some Republicans.
So for 7 years, I am not allowed to work. But get this. I have to be enrolled in school. Yeah. And I must give 20 hours of community service per week to some kind of nonprofit or governmental organization. Wow. So I can't work, but I must be in school, and I must give my time
That's
and my
mission impossible,
free.
Man. Damn.
With a family, 4 children, 2 houses back home, life back home, school debt, all kinds of...
Welcome to the land of milk and honey.
Welcome to the land of milk and honey, right?
Yeah, how was that transition for you?
At first... I was in physical pain most days. I remember for the first time, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. And how we figured something was happening to me, this was 6 weeks in. I would get up, and to make the bed was a struggle. I would be tired. I had to sit down. I go to the bathroom to, pee, pardon my language on your show. I would have to sit. Right. Because I'm so tired, so exhausted.
You got the COVID 12 years ago. That's what you had.
I got the COVID 12 years ago. We went to the doctor, and the doctor says it's a chronic case of chronic fatigue syndrome. Yeah. And that's because of the difference in culture, the difference in lifestyle, the difference in food, the difference in
everything.
Everything. The atmosphere, my skin started breaking out.
And I don't think you wanted to be here. I don't think you really wanted to be here.
Well, when you think of you're walking away from a pretty decent life.
Yeah,
when I get paid, when I lived back home, when I get paid January, I don't have to touch the next 3 to 6 months paycheck. I'm still spending from January's paycheck.
Man, here it's paycheck every week. You can't wait for that next paycheck, for real.
Here is you have to pawn out the next week's paycheck this week.
Try explaining that to people back in the motherland. They won't listen to you.
They don't get it.
They don't get it.
They don't get it.
They don't get it.
They don't get it. And then I never knew what it felt like to walk into the store and have somebody just walking behind me everywhere I go. Just if I touch something, can I help you with that? At first, I thought, this is so wonderful. You know, they're helpful, they're nice. But then I realized, no.
Wait a minute.
There's more people in the store, but you're fixated on me and my son.
Seriously.
You know what I mean? So these are all the little things that started creeping up. It was a tough transition.
And then you realize how black you were.
Oh.
You realize, wow.
Bro, let me tell you, man.
You're like, whoa.
Let me
like,
tell you.
coming from...
The first time I knew I was a black man,
you know what I mean?
Was when I came here.
Exactly. Like, for real. Yeah.
Listen, when a police officer looked at me one day and said, man, you are a threat just by waking up in the morning. And I said, what do you mean? He said, dude, you're 6'2".
Yeah.
You're big.
Full of muscle. Yeah, man.
You're big. You're big. You have dreadlocks.
Yeah.
And at the time, the dreadlocks didn't look like this because they were new, you know. So the hair looked a little crazy.
Yeah.
He said, when I see you, my tactical training tells me that you're a threat. And so I approach you accordingly.
Profiling.
Bro.
101.
It was the most difficult year of my life. You know, America, let me say this, and I'm quick to say this.
Yeah.
America has her positives.
Yep.
And she's helped a number of us help families back home,
No,
build businesses back home.
Most definitely.
You know, do what we wanted to do.
A whole lot. The U.S. dollar goes far.
But she takes a lot from us.
She does.
She takes a lot
especially
from
us men.
Especially us black men.
Yeah, let's call it. Let's call it.
Raising 2 black boys.
Yeah, man.
In America.
How, man? So, man, it's like I was talking. We had this function the other day, and we had this initiation ceremony that you attended, and I was telling the young cats, our sons, man, you just come home to us, no matter what you do. You know what I'm saying? You get pulled over. You know what I mean? You know, just do as you're told. Hands on the steering wheel. All right. Whatever they tell you, they tell you license registration, you lean for it. You know, you're letting them know your every move.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
roll down your window when they tell you to do that. Don't give them any reason to do what's been done.
To do what's been done.
Okay.
And they'll take it.
We need you home. We'll come get you wherever you are.
Don't worry. I say this to my sons all the time.
Yeah.
You don't need to look macho.
Yeah.
Don't worry about being macho.
No.
Even when they ask my son, my 18-year-old just started driving a year and a half ago. I said to him, when they pull you over and they ask for your license, before you reach for it, say, sir, I am going to reach for my license.
You're asking for permission.
Okay?
Yeah.
And if he says, don't move your hand, don't move your hand.
Yeah.
If he calls your name, whatever he says, stay quiet, keep your hands where they're visible, and make sure you're complying.
And I was talking to my white brother now, and I was telling him, man, the whole scenario, he's never thought about it. When his son goes out, he never thinks about him coming back because he knows his son will always come back to him. He knows his son will always come back home.
My son, for years, almost to this day, whenever he leaves the house, I need to know this dude is going to be 19 years old tomorrow, actually.
Wow. Happy birthday. What's his name?
Shay.
All right, man. Shay Bennett. Happy birthday. Yeah, you gotta smooth that right here.
No, I hope he agrees.
Yes,
when he leaves the house today, I need to know when you leave. When he gets home, I don't want a text message that you're home. I don't want a call from your cell phone that you're home.
Yeah.
I need it from the house phone.
He's 19.
He's 19.
Wow.
That way
He's an adult.
know that you're home. You know why? Ahmaud Arbery was an adult.
Yes.
Check it out. He was an adult.
Yes, sir.
Just jogging in his community.
Yes, he was.
And his family ended up burying him a week and a half later for just jogging.
But let me ask you this now. Our sons have a privilege of having us.
Yeah.
There are so many sons, a lot of young brothers out there that don't have this father figure.
Yeah.
What's your take as a pastor? What's your take? It takes a village, but how do they manage? How do they start? What do you recommend?
So I'm one of those young men who never had the privilege of having a father. And I know firsthand what that feels like.
Yeah.
I know what it is to want to have a conversation with dad. I know what it is to want to hear, I love you from dad.
Yes.
I know what it is to want to get a hug from dad. Mom did the best she could.
She was
mom and dad, but there are times things were happening.
Understood.
Where I wanted to talk to dad about it. I had a wonderful stepfather. For 18 years before he passed away. Wow. But he wasn't dad still.
It wasn't dad.
I still wanted dad. And
did you and your dad, do you recall him? How old were you when he passed?
My father passed away just in 2015.
Oh, but he wasn't in your life.
Absentee father.
He was an absentee father.
Absentee father.
There's so many of them out there. There's so many in our community out there.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's, let me just say, and no disrespect to anyone.
Yeah.
Because things happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we live in a world, and we're dealing with people, and you fall in love today, and you know, things happen, a baby comes, and you have all the plans and the hopes for the child, but for whatever reasons, parents can't get along. Yeah. And so parents split, and mom goes with the kids and dad goes his way. Not having a father present in your home, having an absentee father is almost similar to having a father that's dead.
I can imagine. I don't know. I had the coolest dad in the world, man. This guy was all over me like a cheap suit.
Just like I am over Shay.
This dude, man, he knew every step I took. He knew every day. Come from school, what did you study today? How many subjects did you take? I'm like, Dad, for real? Like, yes. So I used to make stuff like, no, you told me that yesterday. What did you do today? Okay. And I'm like, this guy's he's paying attention.
It's a beautiful
And I thought he was a pain. But now that I think about it, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, our young boys are suffering.
They are.
In my role as a pastor, I primarily, I specifically rather, asked to serve as the pastor of youth and young adults within my congregation. When my church called me, they called me to the role of the worship pastor. I stayed in that role for a year. Yeah. I observed what was going on in the congregation.
You did.
And I realized that the church needed a youth pastor. Yeah. Because it's a predominantly black church. Okay. It's in the city of Lynn. And I'm getting calls from mothers, grandmothers, wives, aunts about their boys either being picked up in the store, picked up in the mall, accused of doing something, kicked out of school, something. Yeah. And I realized the church needed a youth pastor. And not just, I was a bit selfish in that, not just any youth pastor, we needed a male in that role. Not because I believe women can't do the role of youth pastor or of the pastorate, but because I felt like we had a lot more male figures that were considered at risk in the congregation than I saw female. The other thing is, I had 4 kids in the church. I have four kids in the church, and I want my kids to be there with me, and I want them I want a church to be a fundamental part,
a foundation
of their lives. Yeah. And I figured if they have no youth ministry, they're gonna keep coming to church as long as that drag them out of the bed in the morning to get to church. But the moment they're able to make their own decisions, they're gonna step away.
Understood.
And so after the senior pastor left, the church asked me to act as the senior pastor. I complied, and I helped the church find an interim interim pastor. The interim pastor came, and we sat down and we decided we needed an executive pastor. And that position was pitched to me. And I said, no, I want to serve the youth. At this time, I had 2 young boys from my congregation, both of whom didn't have their fathers in their lives. One of them didn't know his dad. And they had taken on to my boys as, you know how boys are, they're friends. Yeah. And so the fact that they took on to my boys, they started coming over, they would spend weekends. Yeah. Weekends turned into 3 days of the week. That turned into all for the entire week. And I figured, okay, it's clear that these boys not only need someone they're going to see on Sunday and someone who's going to talk with them Wednesday night about stuff. These boys need mentoring. Yes. These boys need father figures. Yeah. One of the young men said to me, the reason I act out the way I do is because when I see Shay with his dad, something inside of me yearns for that kind of love.
There's a saying I read once, every young son, every young kid who doesn't have a father figure in their life has a picture as a hole in their heart with a picture of their father. It's a hole, and it's basically his father's figure.
Absolutely.
A hole in their heart.
I can attest to that, man.
You know? And then how they, so it's folks like you who give it, being in the ministry, being able to get them together there and trying to perpetuate that. But at some point, the ministry in of itself, as they get older, a lot of them maybe just don't feel like that's the angle they want to be at. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can only do so much. Yeah. It's where do we start? Like, how do we how do we get a level of normalcy? I was looking at some statistics. 15% African-American young males, okay, of the population in the U.S., but incarcerated, there were 45%. Mm-hmm. There are 15% of the demographics, but over 45% in jail.
In jail. Mm-hmm.
Juvenile.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
You know?
We have to remove certain things, KG.
Yeah.
I am not a wealthy man by any stretch.
Yeah, but you're wealthy at heart, baby.
I'm wealthy at heart. Financially, resource-wise, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm able to pay my bills, and if I want to go out to dinner, I'm able to do that and not have to worry about where the money's coming from to spend it. We have to remove the things. I serve in a city that's predominantly Latinx and Black.
Yeah. Lynn, city of
Lynn,
sin.
The city of, so the saying is, Lynn, the city of sin, you never come out the way you went in. You ask them for water, they give you gin.
Oh!
Here's the last part. Yeah. The girls say no, but they still let you in.
Oh! Damn. Okay.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing.
That's quite the reputation.
Oh, man. Okay.
That is the reputation.
That's it.
But that's the city that I serve.
Yeah.
I've gotten to a place in my life, and you look at your misfortunes and you're grateful for them. The lack of a father in my life. My dad was alive until 6 years ago. Yeah. I'm 40 years old.
Yep.
But he was never present. Mm-hmm. My dad, I say this all the time, is arguably one of the worst persons I've ever met in my life.
Whoa.
And not because he wasn't there, but because of my father physically assaulted his mother.
Your grandmother?
My grandmother. For me, it doesn't get any worse than that. So that's just, But because I didn't have my father in my life, because I needed my dad in my life, I understand what it feels like to have that hole where your father's picture is supposed to be.
Yeah, his face.
Where his face is supposed to be. Yeah. I understand what it feels like to not feel like a complete person. Because you never had that male to have the conversations with. Yeah. You never have that male to help you process your feelings, your thoughts. We have to remove the stuff.
Yeah, that stigma.
The boys in the community, I make myself available to families. I don't need your insurance card number for you to receive my services. You don't need to be a member of my congregation to call me, to have my cell phone number.
Understood.
Your son doesn't need, or your daughter doesn't need to sing in my youth choir or be a part of my youth ministry.
None of that.
To have full access to who I am. There are a couple of things. I never sit with a young lady unless there's another female present.
Understood. I got you, brother. Hey, man, listen, it is what it is, man. You don't want to,
And I never have conversations, mentor relationship with any person, male or female, unless a parent consents to it and knows about it, and they're called in and they're given information about what we're doing.
What are the demographics? How old are these folks, for the most part?
For the most part, 6 to
I get it.
17.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now I have a bunch of what I call apprentices. And those are my 20 and over.
And I'm sure they came through the program.
They came through the program.
You mentored them, and now they're matriculated to a level where they get it. Yeah.
And what we do, what I do, I meet with them religiously, monthly by monthly. Yeah. And I ensure that the big brother relationship continues between me and them and between them and somebody else.
I hear you. Let me give you a story as we talk about this stuff. I'm trying to cover a lot of things here before we wind down. My son was in the 8th grade. He played basketball. He went to a charter school. I live in Worcester, and it's predominantly It's a public school, it's a charter school, predominantly Black. And they went to play basketball at some city, maybe it's 30 minutes, 40 minutes, somewhere. It's predominantly white. Okay. They were killing them. They were killing them. And guess what? Out of the bleachers, the parents and the kids at that school started calling them niggers. The N-word. Yeah. Parents and children. My son is in 8th. How old is an 8th grader? 9th. How old are they? How old?
8th grader is probably, 13.
13. All right. No, so imagine that. He's coming home, Dad, I just came from a game. I was ripped. I was like, Next day, Miss Principal, what's going on? What the hell is this? What happened yesterday? We have it under control. What do you have under control?
Yeah.
This is a 13-year-old boy being subjected a game of basketball.
And the response to that you get from officials all the time, well, there's nothing we can do because there's free speech or, until it reaches credible.
Make America great again. Yes, right. Yeah.
My son had an experience. My son, and I'm probably one of those annoying parents, but Shay's one of the sweetest kids I know. He's annoying to me as a parent. That's
the norm.
But he's one of the sweetest kids I know.
I hear you.
He's 6'2". He's jacked just like his dad.
Yeah.
But very soft spoken. And I started noticing his last year in middle school. I started noticing a change in his behavior. My kid, 19 years old, tomorrow morning, has never shrugged his shoulder when I spoke to him, ever. Has never spoken back to me. If I'm talking to him, he stands in front of me. He looks me square in the face while I'm talking. He said, yes, Dad.
Okay.
No, Dad. If he's mad, if he's angry, if he's upset about something that I say, I don't know it. Because he never shows it. And if I'm talking to him in a rough manner, you'll see the tears start coming out of his eyes, but he will never disrespect me. I started noticing a withdrawal with Shay, locking himself in his room for the most part. So I pried it, I prompted. Came to find out that a student said something to the effect of, so they were having recess and student was playing with elastic, shooting elastic, a white kid shooting elastic, and he shot the elastic band and it hit Shay, and Shay turned around and said to him, yo, why did you do that? And his response was not, I'm sorry, it was an accident.
What you gonna do?
His response was, I don't know why you're mad. Your four parents are used to getting whooped anyways. Middle school. I went to the school. Shay didn't tell me this when it happened. When I found out, we had about 2 days left in the school semester. Because I noticed a difference. I'm one of those annoying parents. I know what goes on in my kids' life. So I know when there's a difference.
Your presence, yeah.
Went to the school and I'm like, okay, this is what is happening.
Yeah.
This is what I noticed. This is how I dealt with it. And this is what I found out as a result of that. They called the kid to the office. The kid admitted that he did say that to Shay. He told me the exact day and time, and just the way Shay told me, that was exactly what happened. So I said to the guidance counselor, okay, we need to get on this right away. I need to have a conversation with you and the parents of this boy, because this shit, pardon my French, isn't happening ever again, not just to Shay, but to any other student of color that comes through this school. They dragged it out. Long and short of it is, 2 days before the new school year started, now Shay's off to high school. 2 days before the new school year started, he said to me, he gave me a call. Oh, Mr. Bennett, not Dr. Bennett, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, unfortunately, we weren't able to set up the meeting, and we can't bring issues over from one school year to the next school year. So I said to him, so what are you saying? Unfortunately, we're going to have to let it go. Then, in the same breath, KG, he said to me, but would you be interested in coming and having a conference, or whatever the word was that he used, with the students about diversity? I said, bro, if you don't get off of my phone right now. And I took it all the way to the mayor.
You did.
Not because I had a grievance, but because Shay is one of 1% students of color in that school.
Got it. In
a city, Peabody, that has something like, I don't know, a total of maybe 25, 30% color communities of color, and that includes African American, Latinx, and Asian. How is a child at 13 years old okay and comfortable enough to say to another child at 13 years old, your four parents are used to getting whooped, so you should be comfortable with getting whooped?
They learned that from home.
It's coming from somewhere.
It comes from home.
And if the school is going to say, we can't deal with it because it went over, into another school year. All right, so we're going to take it to the city level.
There we go.
And the city is going to deal with it because here's the thing. I'm tired of having the conversation with Shay. That make sure you come home, make sure you do this. I'm tired of having a conversation that my white counterpart, 35 years old, man with a 13-year-old child, white son, doesn't have to have, never had to have.
It's never dawned on them.
When my son said to me 2 years ago, Dad, I want to move to Atlanta. I said, why Atlanta? He said, Dad, I just want to be around black people.
Yeah, it's a copper-tone persuasion, the Mecca. Hot Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Before we go, one last thing. We're talking about when you got pulled over by a cop once.
Yes.
And they run your plates.
Yes.
Can you give my audience that story? Can you give that story?
So I say this before I give the story, and I'm going to give it real short.
Yeah.
I've never committed a crime a day in my life.
Never.
KG. Ever.
Never.
I have a rap sheet
you're just a beautiful black man. That's all.
That's all.
That's about it.
That's all. I can't help it.
It's a crime. And it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
I can't help it.
All right.
I have a rap sheet since I came to this country 12 years ago that is taller than 6'2".
Your rap sheet?
My rap sheet. And I've never
committed
a
crime
a day in my life. I've been arrested more times for traffic violations. I was pulled over. I was ticketed. When I appealed the ticket, they said they sent a notice to my house with a court date for the appeal. I didn't get a notice. I'm home having dinner with my family. And someone knocked on my door. There is a warrant.
For your arrest.
For your arrest. For missing a civil hearing. I got arrested. The kids came to the police station. They bailed me out. I went to court the following morning. The judge says, oh, it was an administrative error. That should never have been the case. I got pulled over. The officer came out of the car. My 16-year-old daughter at the time, she was 16.
Listen to this one. Wow.
Sitting in the car next to me, and the officer came out, and he is screaming obscenities at me. And I said to him respectfully, I come from the house of a police officer. My mom was a police officer until she retired. I said, officer, I would really appreciate it if you not use such foul language so we can have a conversation. He said, who the F is she? And pointed at my daughter. I said, this is my 16-year-old child.
What city? Where were you pulled over, by the way?
Wakefield. Wakefield, Massachusetts. I said, this is my 16-year-old daughter. The officer left my side of the car, went around to the passenger side of the car, opened my door, and asked my daughter to step out of the car. My daughter stepped out of the car. He took my daughter about 100 feet away from where the car was, behind the car. And he proceeded to ask my daughter, are you sure that's your father?
That's some bullshit.
Are you sure that is your dad? When my daughter said, yes, that's my dad, he said, ma'am, I can help you. Are you in danger? Dude, you pulled me over. You pulled me over for whatever reason. Pulled me over.
This is the America we live.
Are you in danger? Are you at risk? I can help you.
This is the America
my daughter.
We live.
This is the America
we live in.
That we live in. I'm driving through real quickly. I'm driving through Boxford. And as I'm headed to Haverhill from Peabody, and as I entered Boxford, probably about 2 minutes in, a police car pulled out behind me. And he drove right behind me until I got to the line, the Boxford-Haverhill line. He pulled me over. When I pulled over, he came over. He said, sir, do you need anything? Are you lost? Are you looking for something? I said, sir, you pulled me over. Do you need anything?
You don't belong, brother.
This is the America
we're living in, folks.
This is who our boys, this is a system that our boys are up against.
We're going to be talking some more about these folks. Africa Diaspora Connects, man. Let's listen out there, man. Our young man out there, the scourge of our young sons. Let's do what we got to do. For you single mothers out there doing what you got to do because the old man's not around, we applaud you. We applaud you every day, every waking moment. It's not easy. And for you fathers out there who know you can do a better job about raising these amazing kids that we bring to life, that we bring into this world with a lot of love, let's step in. If you know you're failing in some way, if you know you can do something better, let's step out there. These is the future. These are our sons.
Yes.
That's what it is. And ladies, like you heard, he's 6'2", he's single. So I'm not giving you his phone number, but that's what it is. Africa Diaspora Connect. I'm your hostess with the mostest. Kibathi Guru. KG. Give it up, man.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.